again, I'm late on this one because I had the audacity to not stream yesterday, and I'm so sorry for that. However, I do think there's some good news to this one. This is the pitch, okay? This is the argument I'm making. Trump's perceived invulnerability is starting to fall apart. I've said for a while that MAGA is dead, and I still mean that, but I think that this is what the evidence for that looks like. For a long time now, Trump has gotten away with getting like doing whatever he wants, right? It's he's untouchable. He can say or do anything, and it just rolls off of him like water on wax paper, you know? But the response to this Truth Social post and everything that's happened after it, I think, proves that that is a like limited currency that he is burning through here. You know, you've all seen it, but I'll read it anyway. So Rob Reiner, a very famous Hollywood actor. Wait, not actor, right? Yeah, no, director. Reiner? Is it Reiner? Okay, gotcha. Do the accent. I'm not going to do the accent for this one. Thank you for correcting. I'm not going actor and director. Holy shit, guy was talented. Thank you. I had actor in my head. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert in the guy's filmography. Jesus Fosh. Well, hold on. Like, give me a second here. And anti-smoking advocate. Well, there you go. Smoking is pretty gross. How do you not know who Rob Reiner is? I do know who Rob Reiner is. I just typically read. I mispronounce stuff all the time. You guys are so mean to me. What the fuck? You guys are so mean to me. Anyway, it's not about me. And it's not about your deranged hatred towards me. It's actually, according to Trump, about Reiner's deranged hatred towards him. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the great age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. So obviously, he was not, in fact, killed because of Trump derangement syndrome. His very mentally ill son, correct, murdered him and his wife. Very not well in the head, right? So this is insane. And it's led to actual blowback, even within the MAGA movement, which I have never seen before. I have never seen like a casually narcissistic statement from Trump get this kind of response. So what actually happened here, obviously, right, is his mentally ill son killed him and his wife, right? And Trump's bit here is because he doesn't like Rob Reiner, and Trump is a narcissist, you know. Trump thinks, well, okay, wouldn't it be funny if he was actually killed by Trump derangement syndrome? I don't know if Trump intended this because he's not very bright, and he's also kind of like mentally, you know, he's definitely past senility on this, right? But he's essentially implying that the mentally ill son is a fan of his. He's arguing that the murderer is a supporter of his. Like, that's not subtext. He was killed reportedly due to the anger he caused others through Trump derangement syndrome. So the sentiment here isn't that TDS killed Rob Reiner. It was that he was so annoying about Trump that it inspired his son to kill him, and he's gloating over that. So it's not just gloating over the death of a beloved actor / director, thank you, chat, you know, someone that he doesn't like. It's like the sentiment here is that he's taking ownership over it ideologically. You know, if you're anti-me, you'll get murdered and you'll deserve it. It'll be like a laughing matter, basically. Insane? Like, actually fucking crazy? I can't believe it. I genuinely can't believe he said this. And I know they say, oh, wow, you're surprised by how Trump is deranged. Sometimes, yes. Sometimes, yes. You can actually, it is possible. You need to have like a rough estimate of where people are. I'm inferring a couple of things here, okay? The main one is that right now Trump is in a really bad mood every fucking day. Because every day the news looks really bad for him. His popularity is plummeting, right? Approval rating plummeting. On every level, his administration has been a failure. There aren't even any like positives to point to. We're just a couple days away from the legally mandated release of the Epstein files. There's nothing to look at here, right, that he can point to and think positively of. So I think he's getting more catty and more spiteful. Elon Musk, who's also a narcissist, has done the same thing, right? When the news looks really bad for Elon, he gets much more depraved and petty because he's lashing out and looking for like anything that he can grab a win off of. Though, I mean, in this case, yeah, I don't really know how much of a win this is getting perceived as. But yeah, somebody linked this, which are even in the replies to Trump's Truth Social, there are people criticizing him. This has led to widespread condemnation from basically everybody. Obviously not his own cabinet, because they're his cabinet, but a bunch of Republicans have been like, you know, have been like clenching their teeth over this. It's gotten really bad responses from everyone. Total like dud on landing. Partly, I think, because Rob Reiner's a beloved American. I was going to say American hero. You can say that if you want, but also because I don't know. I really do think the walls are closing in a little bit for him. It's you can't keep getting away with stuff like this. An oomph of mine questioned on Twitter how Trump is able to get away with stuff like this time and time again. Like, how is he able to say stuff like this? Nobody in the far right in Europe could get away with this. And I think that's true, actually. I don't think Farage, I don't think that any of the AfD leaders or Meloni or anyone in the far right in Europe could get away with the kind of like malicious, open, maniacal, like megalomaniacal hatred for all life, like the misanthropy that Trump demonstrates day in and day out, you know? I think that, and I think that they were correct in saying that. I think the American right is much more misanthropic than the European right. It's not just how far right you are. It's not a question of how far to the right you are. It's how much you hate life itself. Or how much you're openly contemptuous of the people in your country, of the country itself. And I think that the American right is unique in that respect, you know? Trump and the people around him don't love anything. There are no institutions, no people, no parts of culture that they venerate, you know? Literally nothing. What does Trump like? All he does is talk about what he doesn't like. There's nothing that's sacred to them. They don't believe in the sacred. Everything is profane. Everything is on the other side of the fence. He likes his daughter? Yeah, I suppose. McDonald's and children? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? I think it's pretty common. Like, there are lots of far-right people that I've seen, that I've interacted with online, known in person, whatever. Many of them still believe in the sacred, right? They might lie a lot, but there are things they value. They're not totally divorced. Trump is. Sam Cedar says they're turning on Trump because he gave conservatives plausible deniability that they are not monsters and the left are monsters. With this, he ruins their cover Lamau. It's not a bad read. Look at this CNN article. And again, this is CNN. This is a captured institution, right? Look at the title here. Trump's ugly Rob Reiner post undercuts the GOP's post-Charlie Kirk claim to civility. That's actually a pretty... So, for one, it's idiotic to believe that the right had any post-Charlie Kirk claim to civility. But also, that's a fairly biting title, in my opinion, for CNN. Like, relative to CNN, that's a pretty biting title. You know what I mean? It's not just condemning Trump. It's saying, like, why the fuck should we care about your claims to civility now? You know, like, seriously, what's the point of even pantomiming it if this is the kind of shit you're going to say, right? Look at Trump. By the way, this clip of Trump, it's him doubling down.
That President Trump has already come under criticism for what he has said on his Truth Social platform about Rob Reiner. He accused him of having Trump derangement syndrome. He said he was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession with Donald Trump. He called him tortured and struggling, but once very talented. This is what he had to say, of course, upon learning that Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle had passed away.
And show the response.
Trump then, just a few moments ago, had this to say in a Q&A with reporters. Let's take a look.
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country.
Even in like historical patronage regimes where the only thing that matters is your proximity to and loyalty to the people in power, right? Where it's all just about how much can you suck up to the king or whatever. This would be considered, I mean, egregious. You know, like he's incapable of backpedaling on anything because nobody ever makes him, right? This is fully the fault of our media. Nobody ever puts him in a position where he has to account for or walk back on the stuff that he said. He gets to just repeat things and then walk off. Like everyone's gotten so used to it. Because up until this point, at least, it has seemed like he's completely invulnerable. He's just not capable of experiencing consequences to anything that he says. He's just no backlash whatsoever, you know? But he never apologizes. He's not capable of it. He could not. Could you imagine Donald Trump being pressured to apologize? Like, could you imagine Donald Trump having some private conversation with a bunch of donors who are like, you need to back off this? I genuinely think he would tear the entire party down before apologizing. I don't think he would. I don't think that he could. He's not capable of it. He came close in J6, kinda, but he didn't, is the thing. Even after orchestrating a violent insurrection attempt of the United States government and being forced to back down by the Pentagon and his contemporaries in, Congress, he still didn't apologize. He pretended that he downplayed what happened, and he took a step back, but he didn't really, like, walk back anything that he did or that he said. Isn't that a key symptom of narcissism? I generally don't believe in armchair psychology, but like he's not like reading an open book. He's like reading a teleprompter. Yeah, he's a narcissist. He always has been. That's pretty inarguable. Trump has only succeeded because he never apologizes and he never backpedals. He never walks. But yeah, it's disgusting. The media's put him in a position where he's able to do this for so long. But Rob Reiner's a beloved figure, right? People are responding really, really negatively to this. It's funny also because right now Trump is underwater, right? I mean, he's sinking. And the only chance the Republicans have of doing well in 2026 is some kind of big pivot. And he can't do it. Remember, he tried for a little bit after Mamdani won to shift into like an affordability thing where he was like, we've always been the party of affordability. The Democrats are just riding our coattails. And then a week later, he said, actually, affordability is a Democrat hoax. He didn't keep that up at all. He just dropped it like that. He didn't care to, you know. Until Mike Johnson pivots, nothing will happen. Mike Johnson will never pivot because his one and only job is making sure that Republicans in the House are subservient to Trump. That is it. That is the only. He will never break with that.
Mr. Speaker, did you see
do you condemn Trump's post about Rob?
What are your thoughts about what President Trump said about Rob Reiner at his press conference today?
I don't do ongoing commentary about everything that's said by everybody in government every day. We are trying to bring down healthcare costs for the American people. They're very important votes, very important issues, and that's what we're focused on.
I
gave commentary this morning, and you all heard it.
He will never back off this. What a weasel. Yeah, that's literally his job. Keep in mind, though, his bit here is making him increasingly unpopular with Republicans in Congress. He has essentially turned the Congress into a rubber, well, the House into a rubber stamp for Trump. All of the Republicans underneath him face severe pressure to go along with anything that Trump wants, like no matter what. And right now, Trump is a sinking ship. MAGA is a sinking ship. Like the whole fucking barge is getting submerged. You know, a lot of these rats want off. And they're aware of the fact that like they have the potential to have a political career much longer than Trump's. At some point, people are going to break with Mike Johnson, and then once they do, all of them are going to. It's going to be just like the Epstein files, exactly like the Epstein files, where no Republican or almost no Republican was willing to vote on the discharge petition, and then once that was put through, all of them voted in favor of releasing the Epstein files. Wow, even Christopher Rufo was condemning the comment. That's fucking funny. Trump's Rob Reiner tweet was awful, but this tick is baked into his personality, and no amount of media outrage will change it. So, since he's a Republican strategist, his position on this is basically Trump's inability to back off is a liability for us, but there's nothing we can do about it, so we just need to deal with it. We know that Trump is like an uncontrollable raging bull who we just need to hitch our ride to and hope that it pulls us in the right direction. We have no hope of changing his behavior in any way, shape, or form, so we just need to ride with it. Yeah, this is my conservatism. This is my America First conservatism. Deeply disappointed Trump voters flood the call-in lines to tell Emily Jashinsky they were disgusted by his comments on Rob Reiner.
Jill in Indiana, you're on the Megyn Kelly wrap-up show. What's on your mind this afternoon?
Hi, just sort of glomming on here, but it matters to me what Donald Trump said, and I'm deeply disappointed. If we value human life as Christians and Americans, then this stuff, it's indefensible to sort of gloat like right after someone dies like that, just for having a difference of opinion.
I'm very disappointed in President Trump. I voted for him 3 times. I still love him as my president, but it was wrong what he did. He should have just kept his mouth shut after the first paragraph. I don't know why he had to bring that up. It was a tragedy, and I didn't like Rob Reiner as a person. Politics, he was really, really sometimes very virulent. From what he was saying about the right, and particularly about Trump, too, of course. However, I mean, it really hurts me to the core what happened to him. And I think as a human being, anyone has to be just sad about what happened and not bring politics into it. And Trump...
Serfs like this shouldn't have a voice. Oh, it's very frustrating, their hypocrisy, their inability to reflect on what they believe means, the ramifications and everything. That being said, it is important to get a window into it, A lot of these people live day to day, like willfully ignorant of the fact that every single institution of art and prestige that they care about despises them, Like if you've grown up watching television shows, movies, if you like music, the people whose art you like, they hate you. Overwhelmingly, these people hate Trump. There's no, like, that's not, yeah, what do you have for music? I don't know, you, 3 Doors Down or whatever, Kid Rock, Nicki Minaj, yeah, the AI program that generated We Are Charlie Kirk. You are not getting much. Ted Nugent, yeah. You're not getting much in these fields, okay? These people, like, day to day, they consume their TV, whatever they prefer, and they just have to tell themselves, like, okay, maybe some of these people hate Trump. All of them do. Basically, all of them do. And I think that, it's why they're being hypocritical here, They have multiple loves. They have to maintain this distance in their head. In order to get through their day. I really do not think most conservatives could intellectually or emotionally process the fact that they're reviled by so many people who they respect. Like, and this is a conservative specific thing, because if you tell a liberal artist, hey, for your liberal views, you are hated by the, filthy, unwashed conservative masses, they'll be like, great. That's great. Yeah, I'm sorry. Am I hated by conservative artists? Which ones? Kid Rock. Okay. Yeah, great. A lot of interesting stuff happening there. I'll keep that in mind, you know? The reverse is not the case, you know?
Just doesn't know when to stop.
I would just like to say that we have a God-fearing president, and he talks about the power of
You can
prayer and praying
unban
for
TechWiz.
victims and on and on and on. So let's act like that, President Trump. I voted for you. This is the most sacred season of the year. Turn the other cheek like Christ would.
I will tell you that I've been a Republican my entire life. I voted for Trump twice. I don't consider myself a MAGA Republican, but I do consider myself a conservative. And I think this comment that he made, this post, reminds me a little bit of when Walter Cronkite made an announcement talking about the Vietnam War to the American people, saying if we, you know, and Lyndon Johnson said, if I've lost Walter, I've lost the country. I really think that Trump's comment has just officially put that nail in the coffin.
I just got to say, I mean, we're not conducting a scientific poll here on the Megyn Kelly wrap-up show, but the callers today, our phone lines have genuinely not lit up like this before.
The same thing happened to Elon in a way. Elon never had Trump's total invulnerability, but there was a window of time where Elon got away with a lot more, I think, mostly like in the very beginning of Trump's second term. And then as he got more annoying and the MAGA movement started to like him less and less, and Doge did nothing and everything fell apart or whatever, he lost that grace, and all the things that they were willing to overlook before, they stopped overlooking it and acknowledged that he's like super fucking annoying and stupid. And that was that pretty much. And now he just, you know, he just like tailors his language to the same core group of bots and internet neo-Nazis that he talks to on Twitter. You get me? This is going to keep happening with Trump. He's going to, as he faces more and more pressure from the party, there are literally like tens of billions of dollars on the line in terms just of like donor contributions and immediate benefits from affiliating with the administration. There are tons and tons of people who are going to be like, Trump, if we don't want to get blown out in 2026, you need to stop. And he's going to face more pressure, and he's going to get more and more angry. He's going to get more and more entitled and defensive, and he's going to say more fucked up shit like this. And it's going to lead to more and more backlash, and he's not going to understand where that came from. He's going to act like the victim the entire way, I promise you. He's going to threaten to sue every news network that covers him negatively, as he's always done. He's going to take it out on everyone around him. He's going to offer people like sacrificial lambs, and none of it will work. Is any of this sincere? From these voters, yes, they're just really stupid. Similar things happened with Hitler early on as leader of the NSDAP. Well, obviously, you know, Hitler was able to shore up his rhetorical strategy by taking over the entire German state. Trump so far has failed in doing this. He does not have the mandate necessary to do so. Either way, Trump really crossed a line here. I think he's a little bit bewildered by the response he's been getting. The GOP will not impeach and remove him. Arguably, it's probably better if the GOP doesn't actually fully turn on him till after he's gone. I'm so prepared to be miserable for the rest of my life when inevitably Republicans turn on Trump and Democrats start laundering the new Republicans' reputations, like what they immediately started doing with Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know? They're going to be like, oh, well, now that the curse of Trump has been dispelled from the Republican Party, we can all return to how things were before. I'm going to lose my fucking mind. They did that with Liz Cheney, too. Yeah, I mean, they do it all the time. They did it with Bush. They did it with Bush. They did it with Bush, McCain, and Romney, all because they weren't MAGA Republicans. I mean, it feels like media's tried to do it, but I haven't really seen any Dems bite. Oh, they will. They will. Maybe not with Marjorie Taylor Greene specifically, but with Republicans once they like buck Trump. Absolutely, 100%. Dan Crenshaw's always been a good man. It's kind of funny that he fell out of the good graces of the Republican Party or of the MAGA movement.